SquallX Gamer asks, are you excited to see the new Matrix? Boy, howdy am I. So much. Do you think it's possible for it to have as much of an impact as the original series? No, probably not. Impossible. Lightning, this is the kind of lightning that doesn't strike twice. I did watch The Matrix about 3 months ago, and I mean, it's got to be my 50th time. It's still perfect. In fact, it gets better every single time I watch it. It is so cohesive. There's not a line, there's nothing out of place in that movie. But he continues, do you think it'll have as much of an impact as the original series? An example of that is the new Ghostbusters film, which is magnificently impactful in my eyes. That's what SkullX Gamer says, and I agree with them. I do feel like Ghostbusters Afterlife has the same, for me, the same amount of sort of loving, scary, wonderful energy of the original one. It's goofy, it's comedy, but it also, there's some genuine jump scares. The stakes feel high. You really like the characters. All that happens. The Matrix film. Okay, so I've already established that I consider Matrix to be a perfect film. I mean, just nearly flawless. And there's only a few of those on my list. Raiders is a perfect film. Spirited Away is a perfect film. I don't think Blade Runner is a perfect movie. Yeah, there's some parts of that movie that are clunky that I sometimes want to fast forward to. It's less. It's really important. It's just slightly less perfect. The new Matrix. I will tell you that I have maintained a complete blackout of all Matrix marketing. I haven't seen a trailer. I haven't even seen a still. I just the other day saw a shot of Keanu in the movie poster. That's the first image I've seen of Matrix. So that tells you I'm holding back all of my expectations. I want to see it as green as I can. I want to go in tabula rasa. And I have high hopes because, like, look, I didn't love the second and third Matrix movies as much as I loved the first, but the world is a better place because the Wachowskis are making movies. No matter how you feel about their movies, the world is a better place because they make movies. And they make weird movies. And they make original movies. Jupiter Ascending might not be your favorite movie, but man, think of another creative team that can get that much money to make something that weird. Like, we need more weird in that stuff. I don't mind sequels. I don't mind continuations of franchises. But alongside that, you also want filmmakers like the Wachowskis doing weird and wonderful stuff. And I know we're talking about a franchise here that they built. So while I felt more lukewarm about Reloaded and Revolutions than I did about The Matrix, I think Animatrix is one of my favorite science fiction movies. Animatrix, if you haven't seen it, is 8 short films, all with scripts written by the Wachowskis, each one animated by a different amazing animator. And the stories encompass all sorts of things. You learn about the kid who's in Revolutions and Reloaded. You learn about his spontaneous leaving of the Matrix, the only human to have done so. I think there's a whole movie in the kid, personally. You learn about the origin of the Matrix. You learn about 01, the very first machine city. The plots of Animatrix and the writing of Animatrix is absolutely as good as The Matrix, I submit. So I have really high hopes for the new Matrix film. Like I said, I am really glad and grateful that the Wachowskis are making movies. I'm also grateful to have gotten to spend a year helping them make the 2 sequels to The Matrix, because that was an amazing job to work on with my art director, Nancy Noblet, and production designer, Owen Patterson. My great friend, Fawn Davis, and I lived in this little office in Building 11 out there on Alameda for a year and a half. We blew stuff up, we broke stuff. It was a great film to work on, an amazing crew. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, let's see here. Oh, wow. This is interesting. Enigmatic Penguin, terrific username. Enigmatic Penguin says, what is your favorite limited sets movie? I've never even thought about that as a metric for thinking about movies. They say their favorite is Wrath of Khan. There's really just the same bridge set for both ships and a few interiors. That is really fascinating. That's a way of looking at Khan that I hadn't considered. It's almost like Khan is a bottle episode of the Star Trek films, made with less sets than the. I'm going to have to think about that. Oh, well, I mean, the all-time greatest limited set film is My Dinner with Andre. Roger Ebert once got asked, is there a film that you can think of that has no genre, that is not part of any genre? And he thought about it for a second and said, yes, My Dinner with Andre. My Dinner with Andre is a film-length dinner conversation between Wallace Shawn, the actor who played Bazzini in The Princess Bride, and Andre Gregory. Andre Gregory played John the Baptist in The Last Temptation of Christ, Martin Scorsese's film starring Willem Dafoe. I know that's a deep cut. It's a terrific and amazing movie. Andre Gregory he's shown up in a few films. He is a legend in theater. He has done more weird and amazing things on Broadway than any other human being. He is a true raconteur and a weaver of stories and a seeker of experiences. And My Dinner with Andre is, I think I'm not even sure it's a script. I think it might just be 90 minutes of Andre Gregory telling stories about all the weird crap he's done in theater. And he has both built he's both been how do I say this? He's built huge. I think of theater as a more transcendent art than film. And by this, I mean, I've had emotional experiences in theaters that dwarf anything I have felt in a movie theater. There's just something that happens when you are in the room with the drama that nothing else can quite equate to. I've also had some of the most abysmal experiences in a room watching bad theater. But Andre Gregory is a absolutely vat-grown theater nut job. And it's like in the same way that I was talking about how the world is better because the Wachowskis are making movies, Andre Gregory making theater has also made the world better. If I'm not incorrect, am I right about this? Is Vanya on 42nd Street one of Andre Gregory's directing? I know Louis Malle directed the film, but for some reason I thought that Gregory, okay, I could be wrong about this. Vanya on 42nd Street also stars Wally Shawn. Anyway, limited sets. Yeah, it is literally Wally Shawn and Andre Gregory eating at a single table. And it sounds super boring. It's thrilling all the way through. I really love that movie. It's a terrific one. All right, let's move past through here. No. No. What are some movies that you enjoy the props and design of more than the movies themselves? Great question. I'm going to talk about Total Recall, the reboot with Colin Farrell. First of all, Colin Farrell is such a treasure as an actor. And you might not realize it, because if you've only seen some of the bigger franchise stuff that he's done, he is a true character actor in the same way that Matt Damon and Don Cheadle are. Like, you put them in something and they're just gonna do they're gonna make some interesting choices. So they made a reboot of Total Recall, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, with Colin Farrell in the lead role. And the film itself is fine. It's fine. I don't think it's overly stupid. I don't think it's overly smart. It's just fine for what it is. What it does, though, is clearly the director of that movie, whose name escapes me right now, was super inspired by Blade Runner and wanted to get their hands all the way inside the Blade Runner aesthetic and put it all over their film, and they really succeeded at that. So while I think that Total Recall narratively is just fine, I think visually it's a stunner. And I think the director did a terrific job of building the scale of the Blade Runner universe into his movie. The master shots are gorgeous. The cityscapes are lovely, but more than that, they're really put together well. And I'm sorry I didn't do some research to figure out who the effects director and the team was, because it's absolutely top-notch work. And I dig that. I dig that when you find a movie that's like, it's fine, but like, man, there's some great ways to take in. There's some great stuff to take in. Also, years ago, my friend Davey gave me a great piece of advice for watching movies that you don't necessarily love, which is don't watch them in English. Bad dialogue is much more watchable if you're reading it. Anime films, for example, not necessarily the most rigorous and sparkly dialogue, but you don't really care when you're reading it, and it doesn't sound quite as bad. I think he told me to do this for The Spirits Within. He's like, Final Fantasy Spirits Within, don't watch it in English, watch it in French with subtitles. And it was like a revelation. This is how I watch episodes 2 and 3 of Star Wars. They're magnificently beautiful movies, and I don't care about their plots, but they're so beautiful. I have put them on and watched them in other languages. What was the original question?